Mic test, one, two, three. Are we live? Oh, we're live. Okay, well, hello, my favorite caffeinated, medicated, and never hydrated bestie. It's your favorite host in your favorite therapy podcast. I beg your pardon, bestie. I'm starting really calm here, okay? It's around 10:30 p.m. right now, and I just got back from my vacation in Paris, literally like 5 hours ago. That's right, bestie. And I am here in the studio recording because I forgot to record an episode for next week, which is this week. So, yes, I'm recording this 5 hours after I came back from my vacation. But I'm so happy, listen, because I was able to go back to Paris. This is my second time in Paris. So, I have been to Paris twice. But baby, let me tell you, I just love Paris itself. It's so beautiful, it's so romantic. But one thing that's not romantic, the people. I I'm sorry. Maybe it's just me or it's just my experience, but the two times that I've been in Paris, they all have this really mean energy. Like the ugh, they don't want to see you energy type of thing. Like you would go to a restaurant and of course it's busy because those restaurants that I'm going to, I found them on TikTok. They're crowded. You have to line up for like 30, 45 minutes or whatnot. But then you come into the restaurant expecting that, they're going to be like, oh, la vie en rose. Je t'aime. Salut, mon amour. But it's not that. They have this really pissed off energy, like burnout. You know how like when you're burnt out, it's let's say it's your fourth shift in a row, like fourth night shift in a row, and you just want to get off your shift because you're just like, ugh, this is my last shift. I'm just trying to get through sunrise and sleep and not interact with anyone. They have that energy. And I'm just like, babe, if you don't like the job, quit. If you're not happy, quit. Because that's what it's giving. It's like that coworker you have that they go on the job every single day, but they're so negative. They're so like out of touch. Just like, babe, if you're not enjoying this thing, you could always quit and find another job that's going to make you happy. Like you're not stuck here. Anyways, I was just bragging because also when I was in the airport and this happened the second time again, for some reason you come to one of those people that's working in the airport, and it's not all of them. I'm not generalizing every single people working in Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. But you ask them question like, oh, where can I go to the D-tax section? Because, you buy things in Paris because the taxes are taken out and it's refunded back to you. That's one thing I love about Paris. So baby, I bought some stuff for myself. I splurge. I'm gonna tell you later, Bessie. But yeah. So and they're like, go there. I'm like, okay, chill. First of all, hello. I said hello. How are you? How are you doing? Like they're just ready to like get you out of their way type of thing. And whenever they respond to you, they respond with this like really mean attitude. Like, okay, calm down. It's like 8 a.m. in the morning. Let's chill. I didn't come off rude. I came in with such a positive energy. Please be nice. And then they check my bag 4 freaking times. They put it on the scanner 4 freaking times. I don't know why. I was like, Madame, I just want to know why you keep putting my backpack like in the scanner like 4 times and no answer. Zero response from her because I was speaking in English and I tried to speak in French, still no response. And I was like, okay, I know you're here to do your job, but at the same time, you're here to like communicate, because other people are waiting and I am waiting and I have been stuck here in the scanning section for like 45 minutes because you keep putting my backpack in the scanner. And whenever I ask you a question, why, you wouldn't answer me. Anyways, it was fun though. I ate a lot of pasta, steak and fries, which is very French. I don't really know what specific specialty French people have. They said it's steak and fries and the special mustard sauce that they have. But other than that, I feel like that's very American to me. That's very North American. Steak and fries. Like onion soup. I've had enough onion soup, but they never really consider it as their traditional dish. It's more like steak and fries is what they call it. they call their traditional dish, and also oyster or escargot is their one of their traditional dish, which is good. But it's just that I'm expecting more like different. Like for example, Italian people has pasta. You know what I mean? Maybe it's beef stew for them. Anyways, the food was good. The experience was good. I stayed in the best hotel, Saunders, and also yeah, so it was fun. But yes, I came back literally 5 hours ago, and I'm here sitting in the studio recording because I forgot to record a few episodes to be posted like this week, which is this episode right now, and the other weeks because I'm gone again. Because next week I am going to meet. Oh no, it's not next week. Oh my god, I'm losing track of time. This weekend, I'm driving to go to New York to meet three of my good friends: Anna, the nurse; Scrub Hacks, which is Lindsay; and Pierre. What the? Sorry, guys, my head is so foggy. His name is not Pierre. He's gonna be so mad at me. Joey St. Pierre. Okay, that's not Joey. Joey, Anna, and Lindsay, we're all going to be celebrating Christmas in New York. We all just have decided that we're going to meet up and we're going to spend some time together in New York, and that's happening. So now, probably after you listen to this, I am driving to go to New York because we are going to have our Mean Girl Christmas. And also, we're filming a lot of contents for next year's podcast episodes. I am going to be introducing a lot of from you guys guests, many different guests. I am not giving you more information, but there's going to be a lot of guests, and I've already filmed a few ones, which is going to be interesting for all of you. And anyways, Bessie, before we proceed with anything, let's crack a can of rice fuel, which is what's been caffeinating me for the past 7 months, I think. And I love this energy drink because there's zero sugar in it. There's 200 milligrams of choline and 200 grams of caffeine, just the right amount. And the thing about rice fuel is that they have so many flavors. This is one of the classic flavors that I like: Country Time Lemonade, no sugar, and energizing. It doesn't give me that like low or crash, and I just keep drinking them because it's so good. It feels like soda. So let's crack this open. That's right, baby. It's so fresh, even though it's snowing real hard right now here in Montreal. I will always drink a cold drink, no matter what. And rice fuel. So if you ever want to find a rice fuel, just type in your Google RYSEFUEL locator so you can find the nearest rice to you. They're in Vitamin Shop, GNC, and many other places. There's actually one here close to my office right now. It's a Depanor. I don't know what you call a Depanor, like a Kmart in the US type of thing. But yeah, like you can find this anywhere, and I love them. It keeps me energized and caffeinated because why? We gotta say caffeinated, medicated, and hydrated. This is our hydration, baby. And also, Bessie, if you're wondering, the shirt that I'm wearing right now that says "Woke Up and Choose to Save Lives," this is part of my merch, which a lot of my merch is restocked. So you better check out www.nursejohn.com. Again, it's www.nursejohn.com and sign up to our newsletter so you can get a discount and you can get one of these shirts. I love this shirt just because it's very nurse of me, okay? I woke up and choose to save lives. And another thing that happened last week is that my first ever clinical teaching semester finished. And I am so happy that I was able to be part of those future nurses' lives. And I'm just so happy with my students. And if they're listening to this right now, because some of them are telling me that they actually do listen to my podcast, I am so proud of you. I wish you well. And guess what? Maybe at one point we're going to be working together. And I am going to be the proudest stage mother if I see you thriving and you becoming a nurse and being able to care for someone else too. Because I'll be like, that's right, I taught you that. You a nurse right now because I was part of that progress, baby. And yep, I'm just really, really happy. And I love this new job that I've taken. And actually, next semester, I took another clinical instructor job. And guess where I'm going, baby? Trauma. Why did I do it to myself? I have no idea, Bessie. But also, I asked for it. Okay. So I was like, you either put me in med surg where I thrive, trauma or emergency, or psychiatry. That's basically my whole personality as a person and as a nurse. Because as much as I love long-term care facilities like dementia floor, ortho floor, and stuff like that, I really do like the chaotic, the fast pace of emergency, of med surge, and just the interesting part of psychiatry. So I asked the professors, well, the people that's hiring me, if they can give me one of those positions, and they do have one for winter semester. So I'm so excited to go to trauma next semester, next year, in February, I think, and to have new students and to be part of those new batch of new nurses. And I promise you guys, I will hone this new generation of nurses. Now, if I can actually teach in every single school, I will, because I want this new nurses to be strong AF. AF, like as fuck. Because now, heading to our topic, which you have probably been waiting for a while, this week's topic is all about tell me the physical, mental, verbal, emotional abuse you have experienced working as a healthcare worker. Why? This is very important, but let me just give you a trigger warning. There's a lot of traumas that can go back from this, from your experience, from what have you seen. And again, some of you have PTSDs, trauma, and nightmares you don't want to relive again. You can always not continue with this. But just a trigger warning, there's abuse, verbal, physical, emotional, mental. But I really have to keep talking about this because it's getting worse every single day, and it's getting more dangerous for us healthcare workers. It is not right that we are being treated already by management like trash, but also the people, the very people that we're serving for, the very people that we have a reason to wake up every day to choose to save their lives, are the reason why we're also quitting, why we're also hurt, why we're also suffering from a lot of traumas. And it's getting ridiculous. Because this past few months, I don't know if you've been hearing, but there's a lot of nurses who have died because of physical abuse and attacks made by patients. Patients. You heard that right. The very people that we're taking care of, the people that we advocate, that we care for, that we love, are the people who's attacking us, who's hurting us. On top of the management, the CEO, the hospital, who's already doing that to us. And it's getting ridiculous now. And this needs to stop because I don't know how long and I don't know how many nurses and other healthcare workers like CNAs, techs, housekeepers needs to be heard before this is all addressed. And it's not addressed enough. There are few articles, but you would not see it staying more than 48 or 24 hours in the news. so that it can shed light of what's happening in the back of the curtain of the hospital to us nurses and other healthcare workers. Now I'm going to be reading to you guys stories of people and what they have experienced working in healthcare. And again, just a trigger warning. This might bring back traumas from you, from your past, or things that you are not ready to go back to. Or maybe you are and you need validation. You need a sense of belonging, a sense of comfort, a sense of I'm not the only one going through this and this needs to stop type of thing. And this is it. This is the episode. So let's start off. First story. I was once bitten by a patient and told I shouldn't press charges because the patient was mentally ill. I didn't want to press charges anyway, but it hurts my feeling to not even be able to make that decision for myself. My hospital leadership was there to bully me into keeping the hospital out of the newspaper. They never cared about me or that I got hurt. I had to maintain the angel nurse reputation. Crazy. I should not be laughing about this, but it's just so laughable that it's happening in plain sight and nothing is really being done about it. And you know what? The very people that, again, you expect to help you and protect you and to respond and validate you are the very people to tell you no. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to ask us who was attacked, who suffered, what could you have done better? What could have triggered Mr. Smith from choking you? No fucking thing. Okay? And don't fucking ask me why that fucking patient just fucking bit me, choked me, kicked me, and asked me what could I have done better to prevent this situation. You know what could we have done better? Quit this fucking job. This shitty ass fucking job that doesn't even care about us. And it's just so invalidating and so rude and so disrespectful because this is coming from your manager, the system, who very, very muchly thinks that mental health comes first and would put up so much poster in your hospital again to tell you your mental health matters. Do not forget you are not alone. And the very people who ask you what could you have done better so that you could have prevented this situation from happening? Nothing. Because I would never thought that my patient would do that to me. And I just really don't like when people use mental health. I do understand that mental illness exists, okay? But it is not a very reason to justify someone else's action, someone else's like damage to someone. Oh, I'm sorry that you're now disabled because you were attacked by someone who's mentally ill. You should understand that that person was mentally ill. The fuck? How should I be finding the positive in here by you telling me that I should not feel any guilt or remorse or anger towards someone who just attacked me because they were mentally ill? Just like if the patient was demented, I understand that, dementia has some effect that that person cannot control. But at the same time, some people, some providers, some family members knows that their loved ones can be aggressive and have been aggressive in the past, but they would never tell that, disclose that to the nurses or to the unit where their loved ones is admitted until it happens. And they're like, oh my God, you cannot blame my 70-year-old grandpa from kicking you. But guess what? He actually kicked my mom, my sister before. Okay, we should have known that. You should have told that to us so that we are aware, so that, we can be more prepared in a situation like this instead of us getting hurt too. It is just, I don't know what to say. It's just, I'm like flabbergasted on how like shitty some people are. And I'm not talking about, the demented ones, but like family members who know what their loved ones are capable of and they're not able to disclose that to the healthcare providers. And again, I would never, I'm mentally ill too. I'm not saying I'm sane completely or I'm normal, but I'm never going to use my mental illness to justify a wrong action. And I know like a lot of us needs mental help and we're not getting that because our system is just so fucked up that, a lot of the mentally ill people is just roaming around and not getting help. And actually, when I was in Paris, you guys, there was a stabbing in the Eiffel Tower when I wanted to go that very, very day, but then I wasn't feeling so good. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay in my hotel. But if I went in there, I could have been that person who got stabbed by a man. So a man was just walking around, apparently had a knife. And what happened is he stabbed this gentleman. He's, I think, Filipino German, visiting from I don't know which country, but got stabbed. And I think he died. And again, in the news, it says that this man was mentally ill. This man was suffering from a severe mental illness that was not said what exactly, but was roaming around. And this happens so many times. And I know it's not their fault that they're not getting the help they need, but at the same time, like, man, you still have some sense in you to know that whatever action you're doing is bad. I don't know. I am not one to judge because I am not in that shoes of the person who's doing it or who's suffering on that very specific mental illness. But I just cannot, like, someone died and they're like, oh, well, that person died because a mentally ill person stabbed him. So let's move on. And that person's death is nothing at all. So let's blame the system. But also that person is responsible for that. You know what I mean? Like again, this is going back to a lot of these stories that I'm going to be reading to you guys, that it's blame on the mental illness or the disease and whatnot. Oh, I'm sorry that my 85-year-old grandpa choked you because he was demented. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, you guys. Next, I am not a healthcare worker, but I am a housekeeper. In a long-term care mental facility, I see how the nurses are worked, the rehab workers, the residents, and their needs. I would love to become a mental health care worker, and I've been told by the nurses and rehabs too, but the hours wouldn't work for me. My job is to clean 20 rooms, 7 bathrooms, the med rooms, the nursing station, the offices, and the other areas. I am not required to make beds, but there's is times when we do it weekly. I make it for them. I am not required to help with laundry, but there are times that I do. I am not required to help to bring people's food tray, but I do. My point is the healthcare staff are overwhelmed. As a housekeeper, more as a human, I try and help as much as I can because the residents are amazing. But when you have 20 residents to 2 nurses, 3 rehabs for 12 hours, how is that not overly burning you out? That is so true. And again, this is what we're saying. We do a lot of things out of the job descriptions that we're given to because we actually care. Because we're human beings. We're not just nurses, we're humans too. And we understand you know, people needs help. People are in a hospital because they need care, they need attention. But at the same time, when we do those kind of things, of course, patients don't see that. Patients don't realize that. But, like having something in the back of your head as a patient and just be like, my nurses haven't showed up in the past 4 hours. Maybe she's doing something more important than my ice chips, could be in the back of your head. Instead of like your nurse came back 4 hours after you asked for an ice chip and you started calling your nurse names and calling her disgusting stuff because she wasn't able to bring you your ice chips when you could have done it yourself with your 2 feet, which you have been using at home. But then for some reason, when you're in a hospital, you're completely disabled and unable to do it, and you want your nurse or your CNA to do it for you. Maybe that. Again, I'm reading these stories because I want you guys to hear from the real people, the real workers who have been telling you what they're doing and what they have experiencing firsthand, because some of you guys think we're over exaggerating, that we're doing this for fun. Like we just love to complain. You guys are just a cry baby. No, because it's way too much now. It's way above and beyond, and it's just madness at this point. And we're doing this because we're not trying to quit the job that we love and we're passionate about, but because we want to keep it. Okay? We want to keep it, but we need some help. We need some respect. We need to be dignified as human beings and as a professional. But that's not what we're getting here. Next. Not a nurse, but I was an ICU tech before having my son, and I loved my job. Loved my patients, loved my nurse friends, loved it so much. I ended up quitting while I was pregnant because I just didn't feel like it was worth risking the safety of my unborn child to work with patients. I was punched in the face, had patients throw their food trays at me, had family members screaming at me for things that weren't my fault, and as much as I loved my job, I couldn't justify risking my baby. I have thought about going back to school to get my RN once my son is older, but I'm really not sure. I saw so much while I work in ICU and I'm afraid of the burnout and the abuse. Okay, mama, first of all, you did the best thing. You did the best move ever for protecting yourself and the human inside of you. Because again, as much as you love your job, you should love yourself first. You should love you are your own best patient. And your best interest should always be you before anyone. And you did the best thing. And I completely understand that from what have you seen and from what you have experienced, it's hard. It's hard to like put your mind into it and just think, oh, I should be a nurse after seeing all of those things. But again, if this is something that you really love and this is something that you're passionate about, you can always come back to it whenever. Don't worry, because I know there are abusive, physically, mentally, emotionally, and verbally abusive patients and management and everything else. But you can always find a better job in nursing. A job where you are actually valued, respected, and dignified. And it exists. Not only in bedside, but there are so many other opportunities. It's just that a lot of the help that we need right now is in bedside. But if you're not feeling safe working in bedside again, you don't have to. That's the beauty of nursing. You don't have to work in bedside. You don't have to be a slave. And I'm sorry I'm saying this, and I'm not saying that people who's working in bedside are a slave, but a lot of us are being right now, okay? We're being a slave for the system and for the people. And it's not right. But don't be afraid of burnout and abuse, because when you are able to practice and develop, first of all, self-love and self-care. You'll be able to develop boundaries. You'll be able to develop confidence and respect to yourself and know the limits that you have and your boundaries to patients, to coworkers, to management, and to this job. Because you are not just your job. You are more than your job. You are a human being. You're a daughter. You're a mom. You're a partner. You are everything else over this job. So think about it again, but you did the best possible thing for yourself and for your baby. Amazing. My first week in a surgical clinic, we were taught to take vitals and get background information on the patient for potential surgery, all for charting purposes. I meet with a male patient who could have been my grandfather. A lot of the other assistants were not a fan of his, but I decided to go in fresh-faced and make my own opinion and make my own option. I'm going in by myself, trying to not show the patient how nervous I was about doing it all on my own for the very first time. Of course, the blood pressure machine was not working. I'm kidding you not, it took 3 times for it to actually work. Before the 3rd time, I went down to adjust the cuff to make sure it was all correct. And while I was down in this man's personal space, he looked at me straight in the eyes and said, "I'm not shocked you are struggling. Many women find it hard to do their job in the presence of..." Shut the fuck up. Many women find it hard to do their job in the presence of a man. Oh my God. I would have slapped him right there and then. I am so sorry, but like that is just a sexist, rude, and opportunistic man. And at his age, him saying that just tells you how immature this person is. No. You're not fearful of him. You're not fearful because he's a man. And you are not making these mistakes just because. No, because it's your first time. And I'm telling you right now, every single one's first time is always a fucking wreck. And I have been there in that very situation when I was starting, that everything just went wrong when you're expecting it to go right. Because it's your first time. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to, feel nervous and anxious about something. But someone invalidating you and telling you that because you're a woman and that's the reason why you're not able to take his vital signs. No, I would have left that situation. And you know what? You could have refused giving your service to him because he needs you more than you need him. You can have another patient and there's probably 25 other people waiting for you in the hallway. Okay? But that man, bullshit. Bullshit. Next. I used to be an LVN. Before becoming an RN, I was hired at an assisted living facility where we had over 100 patients. That is crazy. I was 22 at that time. I worked OT and wanted to be at my best so my manager would see me as a hard worker. First ever wrong decision. 1 year into being hired, my RN supervisor quit. She gave notice many months in advance. The time came and she left and there's no RN was hired. The manager, who was not a nurse but a business major, oh my God, second red flag, major, asked me to step in as a charge nurse for a few months. So being that I wanted to impress my boss, I said yes with a 3-hourly raise. 25 red flags. I did not know what I was getting myself into. Oh God, girl. Oh God. I was on call that day. And even at night, making the schedule for the med techs, the caregivers, calling me in the middle of the night, asking questions. It was an assisted living, so there was no nurse overnight. Just me, the LVN, working 9 to 5, Mondays to Friday. I had to assess new patients living in the facility. While I was away, there was no nurse on the floor for over 100 patients. I was so burnt out and couldn't take it anymore. I told them they really need to hire a nurse. I was getting paid $25 an hour for doing an LVN and RN job where the RN used to get paid over $120 yearly. When they finally hired an RN, it was my job to train them, which I said, fine, 25 extra red flag. After a couple of weeks of training them to the best of my ability, I was happy to finally be able to relieve of my responsibilities, including making the schedule and being on call if someone called off. When I told our manager that, they said I would still be doing all the duties because they didn't want to overwhelm the Excuse me? They didn't want to overwhelm the RN with so many tasks. I decided then it was time for me to quit. I gave them a month of notice. First green flag, girl. They didn't hire anyone for my position, and when I left, the RN said to me, "No, I honestly never bothered learning half the things you taught me because I figured you would keep doing them." Bitch. The audacity. I am so sorry for my language, and there's so many foul language in here, but I just cannot contain my reaction to this. Did she just said that? That she did not even bothered learning half of the things you put your energy and time on teaching this mofo because she thinks that you will still be doing them? Damn it. Absolutely no. Quit right there. And you did it. You did it. I learned then and there to never give more than I should for a job that does not appreciate you and value you. Yeah. Girl, you have accepted way too many red flags and you are too empathetic. You are too nice. You are too giving. You're not going to survive healthcare that way. I've learned the hard way too. But you cannot give your soul and your heart and your body and everything to this job. Otherwise, they will eat it up in the table, even the bones, baby. They would not leave no crumbs because they want to take every single thing that is functioning to you. Again, if you're breathing, doesn't matter if you got into a car accident, you are showing on your shift. Or you're not going to show on your shift, but you will make up that shift that you missed. That's how shitty management is right now. And that's how we are treated right now. And it's just getting ridiculous now. The audacity of management, the audacity of some people to treat other people trash. But they are the same people who hates being treated like trash. Girl. Whew. I don't really know what to say. Honestly, at this point, I'm just like, I don't know what we're gonna do, guys. Bessie, I don't know what we're gonna do. We actually love and care so much for this job, but how everything have changed from before to now is just, to me, is a lot. I don't know where people get their confidence, their audacity to treat us like this. Like, who raised you guys? Like, who hurt you guys to hurt other people this way? I cannot. I'm a 4-year nurse in a rural Australia working in a hospital. I love mental health nursing. We had a patient somehow smuggle and use substance on the unit. We found the substance and had the police dispose of it. So he's now been withdrawing from poly substance for a few days and increased paranoia. I was a casual nurse, just hit 18 months working as an RN, and it was my first ever shift as an in-charge nurse, which I was unprepared, uneducated on the role, and thrown under the bus with. Which, girl, first of all, you should have not accepted that. 18 months as an in-charge nurse? You are not experienced enough to be in charge of a unit. And I'm not diminishing or belittling your ability and your capabilities and how you're probably one of the smartest people in the world, okay? But I'm just saying that 18 months, I don't care how the management is so impressed on your ability to do tasks quickly. That's just them gaslighting you because they need you to pick up a position that you're not supposed to be picking up. But that doesn't mean you're good. That doesn't mean you're excellent at the job. That doesn't mean that you're qualified at the job. 18 months as an in charge nurse, and I'm not shocked because I've seen it, and I've seen it happening, that nurses that has less than 2 years of experience are being in charge of a unit, with nurses who has less than 1 year of experience after graduating, and your in charge is a year ahead of you. What the actual fuck? This is what's happening in nursing right now. We are being put in charge of a unit of more than 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 patients under less than 24 months, less than 2 years of experience to be in charge. And not only you're in charge of that 70 beds, you're also in charge of that 4 or 5 nurses who have just a less than a year of seniority as yours. And you're running that whole unit because everybody quit. Because your hospital cannot pay more than the budget that they set, because the CEO are going to lose their money building their house in Africa. No, no, absolutely no. No, I'm sorry, girl, but you shouldn't have accepted this in charge. I know you were thrown under the bus, but again, if you were equipped with what we call boundaries, you would have said absolutely no. And I know it gets us excited sometimes that when you're in charge or your manager tells you like, oh, we have been getting so many good reviews from you, from your coworkers, and we see how you work so hard, blah blah blah. This is gaslighting, positive toxicity. Okay, I believe them though that you are doing so well and that you're good at what you're doing and you pick up things quickly and you're perfect, okay? But that's not a reason for you to jump on and say yes to a position that you should not be taking responsible of after, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years of experience, or 4. Okay, but 18 months, girl. And I know it's not the worst because there are other nurses out there who has been in the job for like 4 months and they're already in charge after 6. Guys, no. This awards and praises is not what you want from this job. That's not gonna bring your freaking pay to $20 more. And $3 is not enough to be in charge, or $1. Being in charge of a unit of 70 beds plus other nurses and professionals for an extra $2 fucking. Be serious. Look at yourself in the mirror. Knock yourself off with a broom or something. No, it's not worth it. Wake up. During the shift, this patient called me a whole dictionary of insults, spat at me, and shoulder barged me. At the end of the shift, during supper, this patient requested more PRN, which he was either not able to have, maxed out, or not do. Because I took too long to explain this, he pegged a full bottle of 2 liters of juice at me, spat at me again, threw a cup of old coffee at me, and grabbed my collar, trying to pull me through the serving bay. Did you hear that? Did you all hear that? Bestie, are you listening to that? That's a whole lot of abuse for an 18 months old nurse. What the actual hell? And some of you still think we're over here overreacting? That you choose this job, so why are you complaining so much? I think you guys are victimizing yourself way too. Shut the fuck up. This is real. And I will always believe the people who says it's real because it's their experience. They could not make up this bullshit and just come up with it and just like, so this is going to be my whole personality for what? The next 70 years of my existence. And it's just going to be in the back of my head. And I will always tell it to people. No, bitch. That's fucking trauma. That's a real event that happened to them. And now it's right here in their head, stuck. Because some people just decided that they're gonna fucking choke someone, abuse someone physically. I am so sorry, girl. Quit that job. Please, I know you love mental health, but those patients don't deserve you, and that management don't deserve you. You're way too fucking good for this. You deserve so much better. Okay? You're off to something good. You're off to something better in life than this bullshit. Please, no. Next. I work for a pain management clinic for almost 3 years as a medical assistant, and I love my patient and being an MA. However, I did not love the management. They started to get stricter with the sick calls, and PTO would refuse to hire people and also underpay us. I was making $18 an hour here in California while new hires were making $22 starting pay. After COVID, working at the clinic became a nightmare. With the end of telehealth, upper management wanted patients to come in person for 15 minutes follow-up like getting medication refill, which could have been done through the phone. Not all providers were quick, and I would often have to work and cover 2 MAs who were out. Some days it would just be me working back office for 7 providers. I would often deal with patients yelling at me because we ran out of rooms and they would need to wait in the lobby a lot longer. Last April, after a year of putting up with the abuse, I decided to put my mental health first and quit to go back to school. Good for you, girl. Again, guys, if you are doing something in your job that you feel like it's a little too much, maybe trust your instinct. Maybe trust your gut. Maybe trust what yourself is telling you. Because sometimes, your self talks to you. It tells you a lot. When you start crying in the bathroom, that's a sign that your body is telling you, leave the fucking job right now and find something else. You should not be this unhappy in something that you actually love. Listen to yourself. And again, management don't care what you're going through. I've repeated this in way too many fucking episodes. They don't care about you. You're a number, baby. And it's as hard as you can listen to it and hear it. You're just a number. You're replaceable. You are not important. You're not special. And baby, you are special to me, of course, but you are not special for your job, from your job. You're only special when they need you, when they need something extra from you that you can give for them. And after that, baby, you're nothing but a trash. You are easily replaceable. And I want you to hear that and feel it and be mad about it. Because I want you to have the same energy when you go to that job and you're treated shit and you're like, I'm not fucking doing this shit no more. Bye. That's it. Period per. So I work as a licensed security guard placed within the oil industry. I started a job in November of 2019. It started in the very beginning of 2021 when my partner suddenly got very ill. So COVID restrictions were still a big thing and I mostly had home office at that time. That's when my boss started to become very toxic, like super toxic. I had to out of the blue take my partner to the ER, doctor visit, etc. Could be good to mention that my partner worked for the same company. We didn't know what was wrong at first, which made it even scarier. The doctors didn't figure it out for a few months either. My boss started complaining and being a pain because I had to start declining overtime, extra shifts. Since I always said yes, I now become difficult. Even though on the side I was the housekeeper, the cook, home nurse with zero experience, raising our kitten, then I was refused time off when I had to have his first surgery. As my as my boss said, he didn't bother to find cover. Yes, girl, he felt way too comfortable and see that you are weak and would do whatever they want. I'm really going to be super straightforward to you guys about this time because I want you to hear it from me if you're not hearing it directly from your boss. When you think that your boss cares so much about you because they're giving you extra shift and they're calling you many times, oh my God, I'm so important to them. They always think about me when they need extra people. No, they don't fucking care about you. They care that you're breathing and capable of doing something when they need it the most. You're not special, girl. They're not gonna give you flowers on a Sunday just because, like, oh my God, we appreciate you so much for taking 20 shifts this past months. No, because you quit now, you're replaced tomorrow, and that's it. Next, I am so sorry, girl, that this happened to you, but I hope that you left that job and your husband too. You guys, let that job fucking like sink in, like the Titanic. Next. I was a nurse for 12 years and I have been yelled at, pushed, verbally abused by many, many times and threatened by people who knew exactly what they were doing. Once, while attending to a patient having a cardiac arrest, I was preparing the medication at the emergency trolley and had another patient come up to me with his empty jug of water and say, I've been pressing the buzzer and calling you and you've been ignoring me. I need water. I apologized and explained that at the moment an emergency situation was happening and I could not get him water at that moment. Calmly, I said I would get it as soon as possible, or if he wants to, he could go up in the kitchen, which is a minute walk to the next corridor, and ask the lady to fill his jug. He responded, I'm a patient too and I need water now and it's not my job to go get water, it's yours, and he threw the empty jug at my feet. You guys, wow. This is it. This is the little things we experience every time. And I'm fucking kidding when I said little things because this happens every time. As simple as water, patient could get so aggressive about that. And again, I don't know where they're getting their audacity because like 10, 15 years ago, people are not this rude or disrespectful. But for some reason, with the new technology, with how advanced we're getting in, people also are advancing with their audacity. Like, I'm sorry, but like, you're a patient too, and you should get me. You really choose to come confront your nurse and tell your nurse, get me my water, I deserve to be served too, and then throw her the empty jug of water because you're just having a tantrum as an older adult. Wow. Like, why? And the funny thing is also, these are adults. Literal older adults in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. We could go on and on. But baby, I don't know where they all went to school. I don't know who taught them manners. I don't know who taught them respect. But, and it's just, I don't understand why people ask for so much respect and dignity, but when they cannot even give that to the other people. To some people, why would you ask to be respected if you are disrespectful? Shouldn't you give the same energy you're giving? It's like if I stab you, you should not fight back. What the hell? I'ma fight back, baby. I'ma square up. And I just want to speak about this. Again, like this topic came out and I really brought this podcast episode as, the second episode, even though there's more other episode topics that I could have started with. Because when I was driving back home, I was in my phone. Well, I wasn't driving. My stepdad was driving. So I posted like a clip of episode 21, which is like, put yourself in my shoes for a day, episode 21. It's all about what would you like people who doesn't work in healthcare to know about, your life as a healthcare worker. And so I posted a clip and there was a girl who responded into it. And what she said is, and her name is Angie, name dropping this girl, because if she had the audacity to write that, she also has the audacity to be out there. Okay? So this is what she said. Firstly, you don't diagnose. And secondly, you are the buffer between your workplace and the patient who is ill. I worked in healthcare for 35 years. I know the drill. I know nurses are overworked, but so are many other professions. Absolutely not acceptable for any employees to be hurt in the workplace. I just hear a very victim-based narrative from nurses. Please understand that this is the profession you choose, and you must have known to a certain degree what the perks and the pitfalls are. It's good to take a stand to change working condition, but always remember why you entered that profession. Oh my God. She revolutionary. We've never heard that before as healthcare worker. You choose this job at the first place. You know the perks and the shit that you're going to experience. So why are you complaining and why are you victimizing yourself? This is the fucking problem. This is the people who is the problem. She worked in healthcare. She needed to put it out there. So she had a little sprinkle that, listen, my opinion matters because I was working in healthcare too. But I just think that you guys nurses are victimizing yourself. Let's see. I don't think Angie has ever been kicked into a wall and choked by her own stethoscope. I just don't think Angie has ever broken a rib because she was just trying to move a patient from a bed, and the patient, a 6 foot, 200 something pounds patient, decided to kick the nurse who's trying to help this patient from not falling. And now the nurse has 5 broken ribs. And then when she asked to be off, the management is like, oh my God, we can only give you like your paid time off. And we cannot give you any more than that. So you have to go back to work with a broken rib. Yes, Angie, we're overly victimizing ourselves here. I don't know what part of healthcare you work. Maybe private healthcare. Maybe something else. But we absolutely don't work in the same healthcare, baby. Because based off how you judge nurses and our experiences and how you downgrade us, it tells me a lot that you've never been in our shoes for a day. And don't worry, guys, I have responded with the most respect, and I still respect this person, and no, I just can't. No, I don't like this kind of people. That's it. I'll be true and honest right now. No. Her And so many other people who work in healthcare are the real problems. And again, I will repeat this many times. So many senior nurses out there thinks that the younger nurses just love to blah 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 complain because oh my god, you only been working for a year and you're already burnt out. Yes. Because so many things you guys have normalized, which is not normal, and we're experiencing it. But guess what? We're actually aware of what's not normal and what's okay and what's not okay, and we're not letting it happen. So yeah, we're very, very aware of what's going on, and we're very aware we're the victim here. And I will call me a victim or whatever, but I'm saving my sanity, my mental health, my physical health, and my emotional health from any abuse and from any more shitty working condition and dangerous working conditions. So yeah, call me anything you want, but I will not, and no other new nurses will let it happen and let it slide. So yeah, and guess what, Angie? And guess what, senior nurses who thinks this way? We're still on strike. Since what? Since the 70s? We still have the same problems. You know why? Because we sucked it up so long. And so here we are. Here we are. Same problem. Bigger problem. Bigger problem. I was physically abused at a job I love and choose to be at a few years ago. I was a new nurse working night shift and we had a SIWA patient. So SIWA is an assessment, like a protocol that we use for someone who's heavily or severely intoxicated or going to like withdrawals. If someone is heavily intoxicated and they're going through withdrawals, we use the SIWA score. So he was still on hourly check. So around 2 or 3 a.m., I went to check his vitals, his neuro check, etc. I leaned over and introduced myself before doing anything, as we always should. I had my stethoscope around my neck. Oh my God. I learned not to bring my stethoscope with me in my patient's room, okay? Because those stethoscopes are not our weapon. It's our patient's weapon against us. I had my stethoscope around my neck as I normally did. I tapped this man's back and he woke up and grabbed my stethoscope around my neck and began pulling it. I was yelling for him to get off me, but I slipped my head out from around it. Thank God. Would you believe me that when I told the assistant nurse manager we had to beg for a one-on-one to sit with him and I still had him for the rest of the night? Ah, management surprise. It was a joke to the manager who I was complaining to that I didn't feel comfortable. Her advice was to keep my stethoscope in my pocket. Oh my God. She was such a smart assistant nurse manager. You could have think of that. You could have used your brain a little, girl. You could have thought of putting your stethoscope at 2 a.m. in the morning in your pocket so that your patient who you didn't know will choke you will not have the ability to choke you. Come on now. You could have been smarter than that. You could have used your head like your assistant head manager. She used her head once and boom, she had the solution. The solution is to put your stethoscope in your pocket. Isn't she amazing? Bitch. I'm sorry, you guys, but the audacity of the people that you work with too, is just, to me, the audacity of management, the hospital, the patient, and your colleagues. I don't know who's raising this people because they were raised in the goddamn trash. Like, how would you know that your patient is going to choke you with your own stethoscope? And her response is, you could have put your stethoscope in your pocket, so that could not have happened if you did that. It's literally the same thing as like, what could you have done differently so that this situation should not happen? Nothing. Because it's unwanted and it's unprecedented. Oh my god, you guys. My brain is just like, ooh. Ah, oh my god, I'm so sorry, you guys. And I know you guys are like grinding your teeth too and like screaming with me. And if you're relating to this, I am so sorry, Bessie, but this is your sign, Bessie, that if this ever happens to you, please leave the situation, leave the job, and don't let it slide. Once it, so it's the same thing as like once a cheater, always a cheater, right? If it happened once, there is always a possibility that it will happen again. Because if they were able to do that to you once, they can do it again to you twice, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, and more events. And you know what's gonna happen? They're gonna learn that you're the type of person that let things slide, that you're okay with it, that oh my god, she's gonna forgive it, she's gonna move on from it. No, don't move on from it. Stick with it, use it, beat up her. Use your trauma sometimes. Sometimes trauma could just, like, it doesn't have to be all negative. Look at me. I'm here right now sitting in a chair in a studio, able to build a studio, able to have a podcast because I use my mental illness and my trauma in nursing as something positive. Do the same. Use that thing to escape from that bullshit, from that nightmare. Save yourself. And again, I just want to validate you guys, nurses, healthcare workers, CNA, housekeepers, transporters, and everyone. I just want to say, you guys, I hope you know down to yourselves that you guys are worthy of being treated, first of all, as a human being and as a professional. Okay? Don't ever let anyone makes you feel like you are worthless, that you are not needed, that you are not loved, that you should not be respected. You you give those things to people, so why can't you give that to yourself? You should give that to yourself. It's a price that you give to yourself for doing these things for other people. And I know like I'm getting paid for taking care of other people, but also you don't just take care of people because of the money. It's also because you have the heart for it, you have the compassion for it, and you are that type of human being. It takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of heart and patience to be able to serve someone more than yourself. Sometimes you cannot even give yourself your own shower, but you're giving Mr. Smith a shower every single day. You're wiping sometimes you don't even wipe your own bum because you're just too tired or you're just too depressed, but you're doing it for somebody else. It takes a lot to be that kind of person to others. But always remember that if you can do that to somebody else, you can do that to yourself too. Again, like love yourself first before anyone else. Because for you to be able to love somebody else, you need to be able to have that love for yourself. Because that's the only way you can share that love to somebody else. Bessie. Okay? I hope we learn from this. I hope we had a good talk together. I hope we had a good conversation. And I hope you had a good wake up call if you're ever in this situation that it's time to quit. Don't be scared. You will find another job. You will start again from zero, Bessie, but at least you can start again something good. Something much better, something that you're not hating, something that you're not afraid to go to every single morning or night. It's okay. Let it go. Sometimes holding on way too much onto something is hurting you more than just letting it go. Okay? I love you so much, bestie. And I hope you know, and I will tell you this. I love you. You matter. You're worthy. You're more than your job. You're a human being. You are beautiful. You're intelligent. You're everything that you could ever be. I love you guys so much. And again, before this episode ends, do me a quick favor. Make sure that you download this episode and all the other episodes that you haven't downloaded on Spotify and Apple. And make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple and turn on notification and share this episode to the people that you think deserves it. Or just put it out there in your story on Instagram, tag me and I beg your pardon, and just share it to people. Some people just needs to hear this for them to know, to have that sign that they needed. And maybe this is it. Maybe this is the episode that they needed to hear for themselves, for their physical, emotional, and mental health. I love you so much, Bessie, and I will see you again next week. Take care of yourself, okay? Love you.